Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
To use the brush tool, select it from the toolbox and make sure that the color that you want to apply to the image is selected as the foreground color. The brush tool shares a spot in the toolbox with the Impressionist brush and the color replacement tools. The toolbox will display the last tool that you used. The button appears above the Paint Bucket tool by default. Click the button and then make sure that you have the brush tool selected within the tool options bar. Next, make sure that you have selected the appropriate layer to which you want to add the brush strokes selected within the Layers panel. The highlighted layer is the one to which the brush strokes will be applied. Oftentimes, if you are trying to apply an effect and it doesn't appear in the image, you may have the wrong layer selected within the image. To use the brush tool, just click and drag with the circle that appears in the image to paint. The circle represents the width of your brush. If the lines aren't appearing as you wish, remember that you can reverse your steps in the History panel and try again. Look into the Tool Options bar with the brush tool selected. Here you can set different options that affect how the brush tool will interact with the underlying layer of the image. After you have created a brush that contains the brush options that you frequently use, you can save it as a preset tool that you can then access in the future to select the same brush with all of its brush options already set. To do this, select Edit and then choose Preset Manager from the menu bar. You can use the Preset Type drop-down to select the brush preset. In this dialog box, you can select, rename, edit, and save brushes you create, and even load custom brush sets, such as those found in TeachUcomp Incorporated's Photoshop Brush Bonanza. The More button in this dialog box allows you to change the display of the presets that are shown, changing the display to lists, thumbnails, and so forth. To control the size of the current brush that you're using, you can use the brush size slider within the tool options bar to set the width of the brush tip that you'll use to paint. You can also type an exact measurement in pixels into this box provided. To determine how the brush will apply the color and interact with the color of the pixels it is painting over, you can use the Mode drop-down. You'll examine blending modes in the next section. To set the transparency level of the paint that you are using, click and drag the opacity slider to make the adjustments. To use the current brush tool as an airbrush, you can click the Airbrush Mode button in the Tool Options bar. This will allow you to apply gradual tones to an image, simulating an airbrush technique. To set preferences for what can be controlled with the pen of most pressure-sensitive digitizing tablets, you can click the Tablet Settings button. These optional hardware devices allow you to paint with a pen tool in your hand instead of using the mouse and keyboard. To imitate different brush strokes and effects by changing what is called the brush dynamics, which is discussed in more detail in the next chapter, you can use the Brush Settings button. To paint with the brush tool after applying your desired settings, you simply click and drag in the image.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.